One rental at a time. Just came in early to get a lay of the land. I will be speaking in a room full of 200 plus people, talking about doing the work one rental at a time, what I think I'm going on in the economy. It goes down today at 9 a.m. I'm asking the creators to see if I can't get a copy of the video so we can give it to you here on YouTube. No confirmation yet. I'm obviously an early bird, so we will see what happens. But hey, Olivia and I are obviously down in Southern California today. We do what lots of you would do. We went out to dinner at this Brazilian steakhouse yesterday with some of Olivia's old college friends. And as you would expect, housing came up at the dinner conversation. And one of the young men, Jason, had some questions for us that I thought we would run through the numbers. I actually told Jason that I would create this video. So Jason, this video is for you, and the question really is, hey, Michael, should I sell my house in Chino Hills because I know housing is going to crash? So let me give you a little color about Jason. I'm going to use some round numbers. This would normally be a video I would want to do on my whiteboard because it's going to have a lot of numbers. And if you like this video, maybe I will do it when I'm back in the office next week. But here we go. So Jason and his wife, unfortunately, got caught in the Great Recession. They owned a home in Southern California. They chose to get one of those exotic and toxic loans. And long story short, they lost their home to foreclosure. That is obviously a very stressful situation, something that is no fun for anyone to get to. Fast forward a couple of years, they were finally able to buy a home. They bought a home in Chino Hills. It's either Chino or Chino Hills. They kept saying different names, and I'm not from Southern California, so I'm not sure if Chino and Chino Hills are the same or close together or whatnot, but I guess it doesn't matter for this example. Anyways, they bought a home for about $400,000. They put 5% down, which is about $20,000, and they got in, I think it was 2018, might have been late 17, they weren't sure, but basically, it took them a decade to get the foreclosure behind them and to get into a position where they can buy a home. So they bought a home. Fast forward to late 2020, late 2021, they do a rate and term refi. They basically want to get rid of PMI. They do a rate and term refi. They got a loan at 2.7% fixed. So they did a $400,000 loan. Again, we're using round numbers. A 2.7% interest rate fixed for 30 years. And their payment is $1,622. That is principal and interest, not taxes, not insurance. You can do yours. If you want to calculate that, you can. Okay, they're in the home in 2018. Now they've refied it in 2020. Their payment is $622. The home at this point is worth about $600,000. So they're up $200,000. What they asked us yesterday was, hey, we are thinking about selling, right? They remember the last crash, right? They had a foreclosure. They lost the home. It's obviously very stressful, something that we wouldn't wish on anyone. They're telling us, again, these are their numbers, not mine, that they think the home is worth $800,000 now. Yes, $800,000. So they're like, Michael, Olivia, should we just sell our home and rent? And I'm like, okay, you're trying to time the market. There's a lot of good things you could do because you could take that profit tax-free because it is your primary resident. But let's talk about it, right? I asked them, do you still want to live in Chino or Chino Hills? Yes, this is where we are. This is where our kids go to school. We're not going anywhere. I'm like, okay, great. Second, what does a rent equivalent look like? And they're like, well, there's not a lot of stuff here. Let's say, I wrote it down. Let's say rent equivalent is $2,800 to $3,000. So I said, just so I understand, so let's just call it $3,000 for easy math. You could rent a home for $3,000 where your mortgage payment today is $1,622. Yes. Okay, great. So let's just play this out for a minute and see where we are. So we sell an $800,000 home. Let's again say for easy math, we lose $50,000 to transaction costs, closing, all of that. They get a check at the closing for $350,000 tax-free. Tax-free, that is amazing. $350,000 but now they're renting. Okay, they're renting, they're spending they're spending more money in a rental, but they know, right, this is what they're telling me, this is Jason's telling me, is property is going to crash. So now, Jason, let's do the math together and see how far prices have to crash for this to make sense. Because, hey, it's all math, right? Let's do the work. Let's not guess. Let's not be emotional. Let's do the work. So this is the math that I did, because the first thing you have to figure out is what is the interest rate you expect. And Jason and I agreed 6% is a good guess as anyone else, right? We don't know where rates are going, next week, let alone next year or the year after. We assumed 6%. You do the math. You assume whatever you would like. So I said, Jason, okay, great. Let's assume 6%. You're getting rid of a 2.7, but you're going to go to 6. So here's the math. If you want to have the same payment at 6%, all you can do, you can afford a loan of $275,000. $275,000 at 6% gets you a payment of $1,649. So it's about $27 more. So give or take, let's call that the same. So you can afford a loan of $275,000. Now it gets fun. This is the question for Jason and his wife. Remember, they still have $350,000 sitting in the bank. So if Jason and his wife, which I forgot her name. Shame on me, I forgot her name. Let's call her Sharon. That's not it. Damn it, I forgot her name. Don't tell Olivia. Shh, I don't remember. Anyways, so $275,000? Yeah, $275,000 plus $350,000. Let's assume they spend nothing. That means they can buy a home for $625,000. So, okay, they sold a home at $8,000. They can buy a home at $625,000, assuming they kept all $350,000. That means that prices in Chino Hills, or Chino, have to fall 22%. I don't know. Is that possible? Not possible? I have no idea. I don't know Chino Hills. You do the work. You do you. But let's be clear. I don't know Jason, and clearly don't remember his wife's name. Shh, don't tell anyone. But I don't think anybody's going to keep $350,000 and not do something with it, right? Let's assume for whatever reason they spend $100,000 or they invest $100,000 or they put their kids through college fund or whatever it is. Let's assume they only have $250,000, not $350,000, $250,000. So now you take $275,000 and you add $250,000. Now all they can afford is a home at $525,000. So again, maybe. What is $525,000 after it starts at $800,000? That is a 35% fall in prices. Again, this is all to have the same payment they are giving up now. I don't know. Could Chino Hills fall 35%? No idea. Never looked at the market. Don't know. Don't care. Now let's assume Jason and his wife are like most of us. Let's be clear. You and I walk away with $350,000. You and I are not going to just let that sit in an account. We're going to do something with it. Let's assume that Jason and his wife only keep $150,000. Remember, the loan is still the loan. It's $275,000 at 6%, 30-year fixed. Now they can only afford a home at $425,000. So what Jason is doing by selling at $800,000 and trying to time the market is they are looking for a 47% drop in Chino or Chino Hills. Is it possible? Who knows? I certainly don't. I would argue you don't. But what do we know for sure? One, Jason and his wife have baggage from a foreclosure last time. This reminds me of Dave Ramsey. Remember Dave Ramsey? He was a millionaire. He was a house flipper. He was a millionaire. And then because he had bad debt, 90-day debt, the idiot went bankrupt. I don't mean idiot. That was bad. The loans were idiotic, not Dave. The loans were just bad. 90-day debt in housing is silly. But what happened is they let that baggage eat at them for the next 15 years. When they bought a home in Chino Hills and then they did a rate and term refi, they got 2.7% interest. They have a $1,600 payment in a $3,000 rental area. Why don't they rent the home if they want? I mean, geez, that's crazy, right? So again, folks, Carrying baggage from last time and letting it make decisions this time because you know housing is going to crash is dangerous. You don't see any difference between today and 2008? I don't know Chino Hills, but in my market, more than 50% of loans were toxic. Jason, again, the other thing I want to say here is if you can't sleep at night, if you're sitting in that $800,000 home, Jason, you and your wife, and you can't sleep because you just know housing is going to crash, sell the home. Just sell it. Who cares? Life is too short to be stressed out. If any of your investments keep you up at night, that is a sign. Jason, I created this video for you and your wife because I want you to do the math. Do you think housing could crash 22%? I don't know. Do you? Could you keep all 350 grand just sitting there waiting for this crash, or would you spend some of it? Jason, I know you want that new truck. I know your wife wants that vacation. You're going to look at that 350 grand tax-free and you're going to spend it. So, okay, maybe it's not 350, maybe it's 250. All right, now we're talking about a 35% crash. You need prices in Chino Hills to crash 35% to have the same payment. And heaven forbid you go balls out and you spend all this stuff and now you need 425, 47% crash. Jason, I'm sorry you suffered a foreclosure last time. It sucks. You're doing it different. Last time you got a toxic loan. The loan was bad. Now you have a 2.7% 30-year fixed in a home that you want to stay in. You want to be there for another 5 to 10 years while your kids go to school. Why sell? But again, if you are so stressed out and you're just convinced that the market's going to fall because the market's going to fall, then by all means, sell. Just sell. It's not worth the stress. It's just not. So folks, we will be doing the daily financial news. I'm going to come and get the lay of the land. Yep, speaking in front of 200 people, maybe 250. Do the work. We're going to talk about the real estate market. I am asking for the video, so hopefully I can share it with all of you next week sometime. Just be warned, if we do, there might be some bad words. I'm probably going to let some color go today. I'm going to ask if that's cool, but sometimes you just got to bring the passion and the heat. We will do the daily financial news in a minute, or I guess it's 7:30. I actually don't know what time it is. But yeah, it should be fun. Take care of yourself. Have a wonderful day. Bye.